Time to take you through the starting order for DD2 and DD2 Masters Heat number 1 out of 2. And on the front row, it's going to be our pole sitter Tommy van der Stoys leading the field. He'll be joined on the front row by Francis Jules Cousin. Martin van Leeuwen and Nico Handke will be on row number 2. Frederick Zevis and Jakub Bezel round out row 3 ahead of Mats-Johan Overhoff and Kian de Brandt, who round out the top 4 rows. Len Nyes will be joined by this year's RMC Germany champion Alex Fielenbach on row 5, thereby completing the top 10. Vincent van Kerkhoven and Mika van der Pavert round out row number 6. Nicolas Guillaume and Inke Arts will be alongside each other on row 7 with Luca Neuenhausen, Christophe Capitin and Dominic Heuters. And the 404 rounding out the field. So after this we'll have one more race. Good to see we've got watchers in Australia, mainly from New South Wales in Bathurst. So evening to Michael Burke. Currently they're 10 hours ahead of us, so it's 10:15 at night. I hope you got your beverage of choice and your popcorn at hand, Michael. Thank you for joining us. So at the moment, 6 degrees Celsius, 15-kilometre-an-hour wind to the west, 93% humidity, pretty much, as you can see, up above. Cloud cover everywhere. I can't see I can see a hint of blue sky, but that's past the tree line on the Europalan at turn 6. However, DD2 and DD2 Masters. And a bit of a fairy tale story back in 2021, because one man who owns and operates a team here, RM Concept, that man is Mogarish. He was one of 2 drivers from the 2021 Golden Trophy, including Martin van Leeuwen, that went to the Bahrain International Karting Circuit and got their ticket through the Golden Trophy and went on to win the event a few weeks later. And Bahrain has now been confirmed as the venue once again for the 2025 Rotax Grand Finals early next December. So it's going to be down to Van der Stoys and Cousin to control the pace. Different experience here for the 410 on the inside of the front row. Revs up, lights out, we're underway, and a good start from Van der Stoys. Gets the hammer down quite quickly. Van Leeuwen looking up the inside, gets through on Jules Cousin as the field makes its way out of turn number 2 for the first time. A couple of drivers, including Nico Handke, using the runoff area, but someone throwing it round the outside. That was Len Nyes in the 417. I still remember the battles he used to have with the likes of Thomas Strauve back when they were micro and minimax drivers. So, opening exchanges happening as we speak, as everyone makes their way through in towards turn number 8. That's Vincent van Kerkhoven going, of all people, trying to go around the outside, and that was on Nico Handke. So made the move, got the job done, and then got through at turn 9 on Mats-Johan Overhoff to boot. And a little slight run-off area utilised there. I think that was by Luca Neuenhausen, the 488 from the Netherlands. But after the opening lap, Van der Stoys leads the way. Van Leeuwen and Cousin ran out the top 3. Jakub Bezel in 4th, up from 6th, ahead of Frederick Zevis. Len Nyes up 3 places. Vincent van Kerkhoven up 4. Mats-Johan Overhoff now down to 8th, ahead of Luca Neuenhausen, who's been the biggest mover so far. 6 spots gained. Nico Handke rounds out the top 10. Kian de Brandt. Alex Fielenbach down in 12th. He still leads the DD2 Masters classification. Mika van der Pavert, Nicolas Guillaume just said to me when I asked him about qualifying, what exactly happened? He went, I don't know, it's just slow. I said, you've been spending too much time away with with your other half. And I said, eating good food whilst being on holiday. And you've earned it after a busy season. So, nevertheless, well, Dominic Reuters, I don't think really has had a good start to the weekend. Hasn't even got past the first lap. Imke Arts, she's dropped all the way down to last place of the people that are actually running out on the circuit. The 421 from the Netherlands. Finished in the top 3 in the Chrono Karting Dutch Championship that was eventually won by Zem Knopjes. This is getting very, very feisty indeed. Nicolas Guillaume getting through round the outside of Kian de Brandt at turn 4. Christophe Capitan looks to go to the inside of the 458. Imke Arts, that's a shade of old there for the 421, getting through on Christophe Capitan, who gets demoted to the last position on the field. But apart from Dominic Reuters not getting past the opening lap, everyone else, all 16 runners and riders, DD2 and DD2 Masters included, are still running. Sometimes you roll the dice with regards to your setup in wet weather conditions. You either play an ace or you play snake eyes, unfortunately. If you're rolling the dice, if you get lucky number 7, great, brilliant. Snake eyes, well, that's it, you're done. But in the meantime, well, Tommy van der Stroys has a lead of nearly a second over Martin van Leeuwen. So it's a Dutch 1-2 at the moment. Francis Jules Cousin rounds out the top 3 ahead of Jacob Bezel. Bezel is about 5.5 tenths behind the Frenchman, who runs with Dams Racing. But we do have some, well, Kian de Brandt's dropped all the way. He tumbled down from 8th place and now runs in 14th, just ahead of Imke Arts, who's trying to close that gap. But that gap has now fallen a little bit by the wayside, I think, because Imke Arts and Christophe Capitan were just battling coming out of turn number 8. But at the moment, well, leading the way, it's Van der Stroys, Van Leeuwen, covered by just over 7 tenths. Jules Cousin being closed in on by Jacob Bezel, the brother of Petter. I just came across those guys when I was commentating on the Euro Trophy back in, I think it was 2018. Right, time penalty being given to Luca Neuenhausen, forcing a driver off track. 5-second time penalty post-race. It's been given to the Dutchman. As we have just over 4.5 minutes to go, plus an additional lap in the opening heat out of 2. Obviously, once we combine the scores that the drivers have attained over the 2 heats, then that will decide the grid for their final. And their final will be at 20 to 4 local time this afternoon. Van der Stroys is going to have to keep his eyes, well, he's going to need eyes in the back of his head. The reason being is that Martin van Leeuwen is pretty much matching him. And I've known Martin for quite a few years through his racing in DD2. And whenever he gets back behind the wheel, straight away I think, oh, we've got a nice race on our hands here. Jacob Bezel in the meantime has closed the gap to Jules Cousin in the battle for P3. And Len Nyes is trying to close in on Frederick Zebis, the Dane who late part of this year moved from RS competition after a lengthy association with Robert Schlunsten and then joined SP Motorsport run by Stan Pex. And I think Stan Pex was actually behind the wheel of a rally car quite recently. Had a bit of fun doing that as well. But in the meantime, It's nip and tuck between Van Leeuwen and Van der Stroys. Now that gap looks to be coming down again. It was 7/10 after lap 5. We're about to complete lap 6 with just under 3 minutes to go, plus an additional lap. Gap was 7/10. It's now just over half a second. And a new fastest lap by Martin Van Leeuwen. The 4:01. And he's got that gap down significantly. He was hard on the brakes and late on the brakes, but change possibly for third place. Jules Cousin tried the high wide and handsome around the outside on Jakob Bezel, who held the racing line and went, no, you're not getting through. So Jakob and Petter both have represented Czech Republic, Team Czechoslovakia, at the grand finals on many an occasion. And Jules Cousin leaning into the left-hand side of his seat to try and get the traction on the left side set of tyres on his kart. And the JW5 CIK tyres, as they are very, very close indeed, coming out of turn number 10, and Jules Cousin got the traction out of turn 10, but instantly found the Czech obstacle in his way, and again Bezel shuts the door. Meantime, Van der Stroys has now started to respond to Van Leeuwen. Jakob Bezel through on Jules Cousin, but there's been a change for the lead. Van der Stroys has lost the race lead to Martin Van Leeuwen. Van Leeuwen got through at 3. So Martin Van Leeuwen, you put him in a race car, he instantly brings a little bit more of added adrenaline to the race. It's always nice when, I've had plenty of chats with him over the year. We bumped into each other so many times. And we've been doing a lot of driver coaching. But it's always nice when these driver coaches get behind the wheel back once again. And so Tommy Van der Stroys has got to try and see if he can return the favour. But Martin Van Leeuwen will not hang around and wait for that to happen. So coming down towards the completion of lap 8 out of what is scheduled to be a 10-lap journey around the circuit. So 2 laps to go. Gap now between Martin Van Leeuwen and Tommy Van der Stroys is 0.34 of a second. And Jakob Bezel continues. His run in third place for the meantime. Jules Cousin not that far adrift in 4th. Frederick Zevis, Len Nyes, Mats Johan Overhoff has got himself back up into 7th where he qualified. And he's ahead of Vincent van Kerkhoff and Luca Neuenhausen, who will be hit with the 5-second time penalty post-race. And that will drop him between Alex Fielenbach and Mika van der Pavert. Actually, no, my apologies there. It will drop him behind Mika van der Pavert and ahead of Nicolas Guillaume. However, the timer has expired on this 10-minute plus an additional lap heat. The DD2 and DD2 Masters. Alex Fielenbach still leading the Masters classification in 11th. Christophe Capitan in 15th. But one more tour to go. 1,360 metres, 12 turns. Here at Karting Genk, last lap is underway. 0.46 was the distance. And there goes Van der Stroys up the inside, but the instant cutback attempt was successful for Martin Van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. Jakob Bezel still holding off the stern joie de vivre advances of a certain Jules Cousin for that third place. Van der Stroys very late on the brakes going into turn 6, but manages to use the curbing to rotate the kart and keep within earshot of Martin Van Leeuwen. They make their way through into turn 8. What will be the final time in their opening heat out of 2. Their second heat will take place at 10 past 2 this afternoon. The leaders make their way through turn 10. So drawing first blood in DD2 and DD2 Masters out of the final corner, the returning Martin Van Leeuwen takes the win and leads a Dutch 1-2 across the line, followed by pole sitter Tommy van der Stroys. Jakob Bezel takes P3 ahead of Jules Cousin. Fourth, Frederick Zebis. Sixth, good work there by Len Nys to make up 3 places to finish 6th. Then Mats Johan Overhoff, Vincent van Kerkhoffen, Luca Neuenhausen and Nico Hanke will round out the top 10. That will now be changed. So Luca Neuenhausen finishes 11th. So Nico Hanke takes 9th. Alex Fielenbach takes not only the final position in the top 10, but also the class win for Masters. Mika van der Parvet finishes 12th behind Neuenhausen, Nicolas Guillaume, Kian de Brandt, Christophe Capitin and Imke Arts round out the 16 finishers, with Dominic Reuters unfortunately not making it past the opening couple of sectors in the race itself. But Van Leeuwen and Fielenbach, your winner in DD2 and Masters in Heat 1.